All right, so I got this Packer cut brisket from Etline Foods. They supply restaurant, food chains, etc. And that's actually a really great place to get a great deal on brisket. This is a choice cut. Wasn't my first choice, but that's all they had in stock, and nobody else around had what I was looking for, so this is it. But I only paid 35 bucks for an 11-pound brisket. I mean, that's a great deal, and it looks nice. It's got a nice grain on it. Smells great, and I think we're going to turn this into something special. So anyway, right now I'm going to take, I'm using a cleaver. You can use any kind of knife you want. I just happen to like this knife. A fillet knife would probably treat you a little nicer. And I'm going to go ahead and trim off most of the fat. I'm going to leave about 1/4 inch of it, maybe a little more than that. Fat's okay with me. I don't have a problem with fat. You do want to get rid of the hard stuff though. The hard stuff, it's not going to render good. It's not going to be good eating. So between my side and my wife's side of the family, we've got a lot of birthdays going on. And we do what we call the crab party. We get a bushel of crabs and a couple of cases of beer. And I like to make a bunch of other stuff too. This year I'm making the brisket. And I've also got a couple of pig heads that we're going to do a little later on. Now, I don't have enough room to fit everything in my Kamado all at once. So the best advice I got online was to cook it overnight. So that's what I'm going to do. I mean, I was thinking about doing that. My only other option is to get up at like 5 in the morning and do it. But the latest weather update said it was supposed to rain. I was going to do the brisket in the Kamado and then do the pig heads on the Oklahoma Joe. But if it's going to rain, I won't be able to do the pig heads on the Oklahoma Joe. So if I get up early and start this on the Kamado, then that's going to be full of brisket, and there won't be any room for the pig heads. So that's a no-go. So if I cook it overnight, then I can just kind of keep it warm until we're going to eat it. It should be ready around 5, 6 in the morning, which is the perfect time to put on the pig heads. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Now, I've got a hunk of fat here. This fat feels good. I'm just going to leave that alone. Now, if we get to the fat side, a lot of this feels pretty good too. It doesn't feel like it's really hard fat. It just kind of feels like nice, soft, squishy fat. We got some hard fat over here. Don't be afraid if you get a couple of spots where the meat shows through. That's not going to hurt you. Just relax, have fun with it. You're not going to break anything. It's really hard to mess up a brisket. All right, I think that's all I'm going to take off the back part here. Probably going to trim this off. I think I'm going to cut most of this off right here just to keep it more even. It's just kind of a mushy, weird area. And I think trimming that off will help it cook a little more even. And I think I might go ahead and trim part of this off too. Nah, I'm going to leave that. I want to keep it. Alright, so that's it for trimming it. Now let's go ahead and season it. I'm going to just use regular yellow mustard as the binder. And of course it's not open yet. I like the mustard. I put a lot on. Let's start with some sugar. I don't measure this, I just kind of pour it on give everything a nice even coating, then rub it around. We're going to do some Chipotle powder. Now this has a little bit of a kick to it, but it's also has a little bit of a sweetness of its own. It's a little bit different than the sugar. Just regular table salt. And pepper. I tend to go a little heavy on the pepper just because I like pepper. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and rub that around a little bit, push it into the meat, yeah, flip it over and do the other side. There you have it. Alright, now I'm going to move this to a sheet tray and just kind of find room for it in the fridge somewhere. I'm not going to cover it, not worried about doing that, because I'm going to put this on the grill in about 4 hours. I'll probably pull it out 30 minutes before, let it warm up just a little bit so I'm not shocking the Kamado too much. So I wanted to show you my setup here. The reason I'm using peach chips instead of the apple chunks that I originally wanted to do is because if I'm asleep and I don't hear that alarm because an apple chunk catches on fire and it spikes the heat and starts everything burning, I'm not going to be there to save it. But with the chips, you have less of a chance of everything just bursting into flames and causing a dramatic heat change. So that's why I want the chips instead of chunks. That's why I'm using peach instead of apple. It's about 7:30. I started up the Kamado, and yeah, we're about 200 degrees right now and holding steady. And I got the lower vent set to about 1. Top vent set to about half. Since we've got the temp steady, I'm going to go ahead and put in the heat deflector and get everything else ready. Now the way I did this is I have the heat right in front, so I'm hoping it'll burn slower going front to back as it spreads out and moves across. But we'll see what happens. So we'll start with the heat deflector here. Grate on. And we can go ahead and put our thermometer probe on here. Now I'm going to go ahead and just let this go, and I'm just going to try and maintain a steady 125 to 250 until I'm ready for bed. Then I'm going to throw the meat on, and I'm assuming with it being steady for a good hour before I go to bed, or a good 2 hours before I go to bed, I won't have to worry about it all night long. I hope. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Alright, so I just realized that I forgot the drip pan. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And I also thought better about where this is at. If I can get it out now. I want to put it more on this side because I'm going to have the brisket sit this way. Yep, I think I like that better. Alright guys, it's 9 o'clock. We're running at 266. I'm going to go ahead and toss this brisket on. We've got a nice steady temperature, and I think it'll work out good tonight. That looks perfect. Let's make sure it's not touching the side walls. Nope, everything looks good still. Let's go ahead and get our probe in. I'll put it over here in the thickest part of the meat. Alright, that should do it. That's about it for the night. All right, we're about an hour in. I just want to check it one last time before we go to bed. We are hanging, I don't know if you can see that there. We're hanging at about 269. It bounces between 268 and 269. So that's perfect. I can live with that all night long. I want to go ahead and give it a spray real quick. This is 50-50 apple cider vinegar and apple juice. And I'll probably come out here and spray this once in the middle of the night. It smells awesome already. It already smells awesome. All right. And then that cooler over there, I've got that loaded full of towels and aluminum foil ready to go. So all I need to do is just wake up and do it. All right. Good night, guys. It's 4 a.m. It's not quite done yet, but I was just inside poking around. The temp was down to 214. I had my alarm set for 200 to wake me up for the low barbecue temp, and the food temp 200 because I want to wrap it around 200 and take it off the grill and call it a night. But we're not quite at 200 yet. And the grill started losing temp, so I came out to check it, and let's see what we got. So I already went and I sprayed this again. I sprayed it about 4 times throughout the course of the night, and it looks like we're about out of coals, so that could have been my fault. I don't know, but it's as dark as I want it to be, so I'm gonna take this time to go ahead and wrap it. And then I'll pull off the grates and everything, and I'll readjust the coals because we're not done yet. All right, so to wrap it, I'm using the pink butcher paper. I'm just going to go ahead and give it one more good spray. It smells awesome. I can't even tell you how good this smells. All right, we got that nice and wrapped up. Let's go ahead and check the damage here. All right, so we have about 8 hours of cook time so far. Maybe I just need to move the coals around and it just kind of went out on its own. I don't know. It could be because the temperature changed. It's a little bit chilly out right now. I'm not sure, but I'll find out when I take this apart. Alright, so still feels good and hot in there. Most of the coals are burned up. Got a little bit around the edges. I probably could have put more in. So I'm going to go ahead and blame it on me. Alright, well, we still actually do have a decent amount of coals left in there. I think that might be enough to finish this up. So I'm actually not going to add any more. And I'm going to run with that, see what happens. I'll risk it. You know what? I changed my mind. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and fill it up again. I don't want to mess around. I already took the time to open it. Alright guys, it's 5:19 a.m. and brisket's done. It is at 203 degrees, which is exactly where I wanted it to be. So that works out good. And I'm going to go ahead and move it to this cooler right here. Oh, that feels good. It smells awesome. Cover it up with a blanket, put it to bed. That's good. All right. I'm gonna go ahead. How many coals do I got left down there? So I want to go back to sleep. I want to go back to sleep forever. Good morning. All right, it is 7:30-ish in the AM. Whew, that smells pretty. I left my thermometer in the brisket. I want to see what the temp is on that. Whew, that smells phenomenal in there. Holy cow. That's the wrong one. Alright, so that's been in there for about 2 hours. We're still at 160. When that hits about 150, I'm probably gonna eat some of it. I gotta try all that hard work I did overnight. Alright, so brisket's at 150, so I'm gonna turn my oven into an auto sham, which is basically a low temperature oven with the water pot in it. I've got it set to 170, and that should hold the temperature of the brisket until it's party time. So that's what I'm gonna do. But first, I need to try it and see how it is. All right, so we pulled the brisket out of the cooler. It was 150 degrees when we did that. I'm gonna open it up and eat a little bit just because I can. But first, I wanna show you how I have this set up. I've got my oven set to warm. It's about 170 degrees. Ideally, 150 is what I want, but 170 is as low as it'll let me go. And then down here, I just have a pot with some water in it. And that turns this plain old oven into an auto sham, which will help keep it warm and moist until it's party time. Let's unwrap this and see what we got. And this is quite possibly the most beautiful brisket I've ever seen. And I might just be saying that. Oh yeah, that looks so good. That looks so good. It's like 8:45 in the morning. Now I've got the probe still in there. I'm gonna leave that in there because I might throw this on the offset smoker a little towards the end just for ambiance. And I really want to make sure I don't get this above 160, 170 at any point. So I'm gonna cut a couple slices here, and we'll see how they turn out. Let's see, I think first I'll go for the corner. Yeah. That smells beautiful. I think that's all I want to cut. I don't want to cut any more. So yeah, it's got some nice bend to it, some nice elasticity. It's got a really nice ring. I don't know if you can see that. Nice little smoke ring there, which incidentally has nothing to do with smoke. It's the myoglobin. But let's go ahead and taste this. See how it is. Oh yes. Yes, this is beautiful. Very much well worth the effort. All right, I'm gonna take a sexy photo shoot with it and toss it in the oven to keep it warm. And then I'll get on with the rest of what I got going on.